Welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about fractions in linear equations and what to do about them. So let's say I had the equation 2/3, let's use b, plus 8/9 equals 12. Okay, this isn't that bad. I know when you're looking at this, you're probably thinking the following. Well, I'm going to need common denominators, I'm going to be subtracting this and that. Cool, so let's solve this out. Some of you might be doing the following. Subtract 8/9. Oops. These cancel out. Subtract 8/9. This gives me 11 1/9. Which equals 2/3 b. And now I'm going to have to divide by 2/3. I'm actually going to change this 11 1/9 into 100/9 and then divide by 2/3. Remember, when you divide by 2/3, although on the left side they'll cancel out easily, on the right side what I'm going to need to do is take 100/9 and multiply it by the reciprocal of 2/3, which is 3/2. 100 times 3 is 300. 9 times 2 is 18. So at the end of the day, b equals 300/18. Which is the same thing as 150/9, which is actually the same thing as 50/3. Okay, I would accept any of these answers. This was a simple problem. I had 2/3 and 8/9, and I had 12. There wasn't anything in here that should have caused me any problems. But what if fractions really scare you? Then what do? Well, I'm going to teach you a different way of doing the same exact problem. So the problem again said 2/3 b plus 8/9 equals 12. What if I told you that for more complicated problems that might have 3, 4, 5, 6 different fractions, you can just eliminate them? How do I eliminate them? Well, there's something that we've called a common denominator. We all know what a common denominator is, and in this case, if I'm looking at thirds and ninths, my common denominator is 9. So what I'm going to tell you to do is multiply everything by your common denominator. So I'm going to multiply everything by 9. Well, 2/3 times 9 gives me 6. This now says 6b, plus 8/9 times 9 gives me 8, and 9 times 12 gives me 108. By multiplying everything by 9, I got a new equation that's actually equivalent to the first one. 2/3 b plus 8/9 equals 12 is the same thing as 6b plus 8 equals 108. Okay? They're proportional to each other. They are the same exact equation, except I eliminated the fractions. And earlier we got 50 over 3. Well, let's see what happens when we solve this. If I did this correctly, we should get the same exact answers. Here's my wall, or my mirror. Subtract 8. Subtract 8. I end up with 6b, because these canceled out, equals 100. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 6. My 6's cancel each other out. And I get b equals 100 over 6, which is the same thing as 50 over 3. I got the same exact answer. Now, you do not need to do this. I'm just showing you a different method that might be simpler for you. Not everyone is comfortable with fractions, and I understand that, but you're still going to get a lot of problems with fractions from now until maybe even college, but for sure by the end of high school. So I want to make sure that you can solve these. Let's look at another one. Let's do 2/3 x plus 4 minus 9x plus 5/8 equals 14. Well, got a bunch of fractions. I've got some whole numbers, which is nice. What do I do now? I could solve this as is. Again, I'm personally going to get rid of my fractions. My common denominator in this case is 24. So I'm going to multiply everything by 24. Notice in this case, I have separate terms. Everything is separated. Here's one term of 2/3 x. Here's my second term of 4, my third term of 9x, my fourth term of 5/8, and my fifth term of 14. So everything is going to be multiplied by 24. So if I do this, 24 times 2/3, 24 divided by 3 is 8, times 2 is 16. I get 16x plus 24 times 4 is 96 minus 24 times 9 is 216 plus 5/8 times 24 is 15, and 14 times 24 is 336. Now I forgot an x somewhere, which is right here. So remember when you do this to go back and make sure that you put all your variables in where they're supposed to go. There was a variable here and a variable here, so I had to make sure that there was one here and one here. Okay, the first and third terms had an x. I had to make sure that that was still the case. Now I can solve this. First thing I'm going to do when solving this, because I have multiple x's and multiple constants on the left side, is I'm going to combine like terms. Well, let's look at our x's first. I've got 16x and negative 216x. Well, if I combine those like terms, I now have negative 200x plus 96 plus 15 equals 336. And now I'm going to combine my constants of 96 and 15. And I get negative 200x plus 111 equals 336. And now I can solve this easily. Subtract 111, subtract 111. These cancel out. I get negative 200x equals 225. And then I just divide both sides by negative 200. And then I know that x equals negative 225 over 200, which is actually the same thing as negative 9 over 8. And that's it. Again, if you have any questions about this, please make sure to ask. That's it for fractions and linear equations. Remember, you can always get rid of your fractions.